So greetings to Doctor. So my name is Brandon and I'm from Group 1. So there will be my team member presenting as well, which are Zakrin Ashraf, Ahmad Maidin and Ahmad Farouk. So we are going to present on the case study of my FRP project, which is Kinoro, a tree planting system. So basically, we are going to focus on the functionalities of organizations, which consists of getting the organization details. We create the organization, edit in terms of put requests and patch as well, and then delete the organizations. So going to start with the post request. So we are using Swagger to do this API request, which is basically integrate with the C Sharp backend. Right. So in terms of post organizations, it's just creating the organization. So where basically this happen is the user wants to register as the organization. So basically this is the front end page. So we are going to register. So it requests the parameters of a user ID. So yeah, so the user ID will be USR006, and the request body will consist of a org name until the org descriptions. So we're going to execute. So we're going to get a server response request to 100 with the response body. Organization successfully created. So yeah. All right. So in addition to understand what is going on and how do we implement the framework, so basically for this project Kinoro, so we are implementing an NVC architecture. So basically, a view will have to call out the controller, so the controller will provide the data, and the controller basically need to get that data from the services. So in terms of our organization process, we do have an organization controller, for example. So in this code of organization controller, we set it up as to call and to as to respond the uh, calling URL from the front end. So let me start from the view page. For example, in the manage org view, there will be like a response for us to call the organizations. So for example, if you want to fetch all organizations, we're going to use the HTTPS localhost desired port API slash organizations. So basically, if we call the organization controller at the backend, so in this case, it will call this HTTP GET response, um, and it will call the services, which is the get organizations. So in that get organization, it will call from the database. In this case, the database we implemented is Mongo. So basically, when it get organizations, it will find which organizations are available and set it in the form of a list of organizations. So yeah, so that's how we basically set up the framework. And in terms of how we set up for the RESTful web services, is basically as we mentioned before, it's has several responses. For example, it has the HTTP GET, HTTP GET in terms of user ID or maybe organization ID, and we have a post to create the organizations, and in this post response there will be like option to update and also to get infos from other services as well, and also to generate a sequential organization ID. So yeah, so that's basically how we set up the RESTful web services for this project, and also from the framework. So our framework, I would like to emphasize again, the front end we are using React, and the back end we are using C Sharp .NET. All right.
Okay, so next we move on to the get operation, which is used to retrieve all the list of all of the organization that have been added to the system. So for get operation, we does not use any parameters, and when we execute this code, it will list out all the list of organization, including the organization that have been added by Brandon just now.
So now we move on to the patch API endpoint for the organization. So patching is for updating the existing data. So we can try to um, patch the newly added organization. So first we put in the ID of that organization, and then with patch we only need to the request body only need the attribute that we want to edit. We don't need the whole body of the organization. So uh, let's say I want to only edit the name, so we only need the name attribute. So let's say I want to put this as this name. So now we can try to call the patch endpoint. All right. So as you can see, the response is successful with the 200 code, and the response body returned a message that says organization successfully updated. So that's all for the patching. So next will be Ahmad Farouk with the delete.
So now I will continue for endpoint delete, which is delete organization. So here I will try organization with ID 003. So let's say I will execute, and okay, here we can see the result is show the code is 000, which is the organization has already successfully deleted. So that's all for our group, which is group one. Thank you.